Who is popping caps? Ah, the Bunnyman Bridge. A legend originated from the great lover state of Virginia. A tale linked to many mysteries of unsolved attacks and attempted murders, all linked back to one mysterious, unsolved, bloodthirsty killer. A dude in a bunny man outfit with an axe? So was there really a man wielding an axe attacking people in the Virginia woods? Or was it all made up? Because what else was there really to do in the 70s? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and leap into the story. Alright, let's begin with the most famous story from 1999. It was posted on a forum and it's what is most generally accepted and is tossed around the internet. The legend begins in 1904, where residents that lived near the bridge did not like an asylum that was nearby. So the prison was shut down and the prisoners were moved to Lorton Prison by a bus. It crashed on its way to the prison, and the two prisoners that did manage to escape were named Douglas Griffin and Marcus Wallister. Douglas would soon then murder Marcus, not long after the crash. Then supposedly after, Douglas began to eat rabbits and then hang them up in the area. Then supposedly a bunch of teenagers were hanging by the Bunnyman Bridge on Halloween night when they began to see orbs, and then all of a sudden there was a flash, and a bunch of gutted bunnies were hanging from the bridge. It's now rumored that if you stand by this bridge at midnight on Halloween, then it will flash again, and then you'll be hung up, the same as those poor bunnies. Lifeless, gutted, and hanging, another victim of the Bunny Man. Now to the official reported incidents that were actually given to the police and were investigated, with the first report being in 1970 on October 18th, when police responded to a report of a man with an axe, and was also dressed in a bunny costume. He threw an axe through a couple's window after yelling at them that they were trespassing and he had their tags. Upon investigation, they found no Bunny Man and was passed to an investigator. There would also be a private report to a security guard named Paul Phillips. This report was that a man was standing on a front porch of a new construction build. Once confronted, the man began to chop at the porch and was yelling at the security guard, claiming that they were trespassing on his land, and he threatened to beat the security guard's head in. This investigator also would later be tipped about a man making phone calls claiming to be the supposed Axeman, and claimed that they were all destroying his land by dumping stumps and debris on his property and demanding a meeting, but he would never show up. This investigator would also get a report by a mother claiming her 8-year-old knew who the identity of the Bunny Man was and had even seen him, and described him as an older teenager, but upon further investigation, the child admitted he had never seen him. Now let's get to the theories. Well, first is the funnest, and probably my second favorite. There is a real serial killer, and that he escaped, and he was attacking people in the Fairfax area, and he was very angry over his land for some reason, and he just liked dressing up in a bunny costume and attacking people with an axe. Hey, heard weirder. Had weirder happen this week. The second is he died after the accident, which is kind of the second kind of branch off of the story where it kind of gets messy, where there's like a million different incidents that happen, and this happens, this happens. This is probably the second most prominent, is that he died soon after, and now he's just a ghost killing people. That's probably my favorite. Why not? Just screw it. And then simply the third, which probably the most true, but that's not fun, is just this is all made up because this is the 70s, guys, where most of these incidents reportedly happened. What do we have better to do? Now, the original 1999 forum post is easily proven false, with many holes, such as there never was an insane asylum in that area, and also the prison that it references wasn't even opened until 1910, nearly 6 years after this supposed incident happened. Another possible finger that can be pointed is there was a string of murders that happened between supposedly this Bunny Man being released and when the famous paper that was released in the 70s came out that kind of documented all of this and kind of really brought a lot of it into the mainstream eye, and it became a lot more popular. However, all these murders were solved and their killers were sentenced, so it kind of kills that in the water. This all leads back to the paper I was just referencing. It was a report by Patricia Johnson, a student at the University of Maryland. She wrote a paper compiling events that had happened around the supposed attacks and all the murders that were supposedly the Bunny Man's work. She even named the paper The Bunny Man. The paper was published in 1973, and it seemed to be the huge spark that eventually gave to the Bunny Man's flames. With this big paper containing a summary of all the supposed Bunny Man incidents up to this being published, and it included 14 different geographical locations. Only 18 involved the Bunny Man chasing or frightening people, usually children, with a hatchet or an axe. 14 tell of an attack on cars, 9 claim he attacked a couple parked in a car, 5 accuse him of vandalism on homes or buildings, and only 3 mentioned a murder. The previous mentioned investigation by the investigator Johnson concluded that there was no evidence between the 1970s report and came to the conclusion that he was just unsure. He just worried he wasn't sure if there was an actual Bunny Man, and that the leads he had led to nothing significant. Therefore, the case has been marked inactive. With this being said, I believe the timeline and the evidence appears to be a string of supposed incidents reported in the early 1970s, this paper being published, making it even bigger, and then the origin story being posted in 1999, bringing it to mainstream attention, where it then exploded. Now, this all brings into question, was there really an Axeman terrifying the residents of Fairfax County and attacking to protect his land? Or was it mere rumor that grossed and evolved with time? Well, my friends, I leave that up to you to decide. Alright, let's check. Everything got up. Everything's put away. Fire's put out. What the freak? Hello? What the freak was that? Oh no. Nope, not doing this, not doing this, not doing this. I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Let me in, let me in. After credits chit chat. YouTube is being stupid and won't let me link my references in the description on the Dave Productions LLC channel. So I'm going to put them here just so you guys know where I got my references and know I ain't just stealing crap or just pulling out of my rear end. As always, I encourage you to do your own research and come up with your own conclusions. And that's what I believe makes these stories just so fun and interesting, and it keeps them alive to scare future generations. And of course, subscribe, or the Bunny Man might ban you from life. Toodaloo.